coming up.
Get away from me! I want to go!
Stay here, Al! Stay here!
Acting lessons from Al Pacino.
Oh, it's so wonderful to see this transformation. He's got it.
Why this Hollywood legend
Hello to my little friend!
Oh my God. What a line.
really is the best in the business.
I love acting. I need it.
Al Pacino,
Yeah, here I am.
As I Live and Breathe.
I know. I have the same feeling every time I look at myself in the mirror in the morning. I say, look, you're still here.
Getting old is a bugger, but you look great.
No, I'm not getting old. I'm there.
How does it feel?
I don't know. It seems so. It's kind of ridiculous that I'm still here and alive, and it's still. I did Lear, King Lear, my last film. So, and then I enjoyed it. I actually had a good time doing it. It was something. But you know, sometimes when you wake up, and you probably know, you did some sports when you were younger or something.
A long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. But those aches come back.
Yeah.
They haven't reached you yet. They'll catch up.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Do you feel home here?
Well, here's the thing. I came out here and I rented a house. And I'm still in that house. I came out here because my kids were born. My youngest children. I had a child in New York, an older person. And they went with their mother, who was here. She lived in California a long time, and she needed her business relations, so they all went to Los Angeles, and I just had to come. I mean, I couldn't stay away from them, so I came here, and I would commute to New York occasionally. And I tell you that that's a good question, because something happened in New York. Oh, I love it. It gave me everything, you know.
It's a different kind of jungle, Hollywood, to the jungle you grew up in.
Yeah, different. It's different. But the other thing is about New York now. I was in a cab. I went there. I go there sometimes, you know, and I'm there in New York, and a lot of things I love because I remember all the things. But then I'm in the back of the cab, and I'm thinking, well, so-and-so, no, he's gone. He died. So what made up the city is the various people I knew who lived there. When they're gone, something happens. You don't feel the same way about it. You just don't. You lose the home effect. I'm sure if I stayed there for a couple of more months, I would get into it again. I got searching for friends all over the place. They're all gone.
You talk so lovingly about your time growing up there.
Yeah.
I don't know how you made it. I mean, some of your friends didn't, you know?
They didn't, no. Well, I guess my mother was the most, my grandfather too. I loved him so much. And my mother, single woman without a husband and a young, crazy kid. It took me forever to realize that she's why I'm here, you know.
Why?
She was there for me when others were allowed to go into the streets at night and do whatever they did. She always kept it down. And how much I didn't, how I didn't like that, you know. But in the end, I think I sort of say it in the book, you know, when my friends are going into the night and I'm here and she's up on the roof calling me. Come on, Sonny, you got supper, come on. And I look up to her and I know I'm gonna get hell if I don't go up there. So there was something about that worked.
There's something about her too, and when I read this, I felt the emotion of it.
Oh, good, I'm
With
glad.
her passing, you said she died like Tennessee Williams had died, choking on her pills like so many have.
Yeah.
It was such simple writing, but the emotion of it all must have been overwhelming for you even to write these years later. How did you navigate through that?
Well, of course, I've gone through so many incarnations of dealing with it, you know.
Have you?
Had therapy for 30 years. Yeah, You know how much now in my life, and I look back, and how much you're coping all the time, all of us, with people leaving this earth. You know, I felt I left the earth when I passed out. I passed out when I had COVID.
You
in my apartment.
You nearly
in my
died.
apartment. And I didn't die. I was dehydrated, and they were giving me the needle and giving me, filling me up with water. And then I liked the guy who was doing it. He seemed like a nice guy. I wanted to talk to him, but I forgot his name. And I said, I wish I knew his name. What's his name? That was it. Like that. Next thing I know, I open my eyes, and there's 5 paramedics in my living room. These guys like this, they're fantastic. And 2 doctors dressed as, what do you call them, like spacesuit on their head. And they were my doctors, but I couldn't recognize them from head to toe.
It's like a film set.
There it is. It's all a film. But
it's all a film.
It's all a
That's
film.
a great line.
And there they are, and I'm wondering, where am I? What is this about? But they said my pulse had stopped. I hope this doesn't happen now. I mean, it would be really inconvenient. But
you know,
we live in hope.
I'm there for you. I'll bring you back to life.
Let me see if can we mime it? So I'm falling.
Okay.
I'm falling. No. Hang on. Get away from me. Get away from me.
No,
I want to go. I don't want.
Come on, stay here, Al. Stay here.
Oh, this is beautiful acting. I love it.
I'm the worst, man.
Oh no, you're great.
I'm gonna get
right there.
I felt that emotion from you now.
I couldn't die though somehow. I was trying to, but I couldn't get there.
I love the idea of Al Pacino's heaven. There's going to be some stuff going on up there.
Oh, up there, yeah. Wow. I'll meet some people. Maybe very, very few that I have known. No,
I've got something on that theme. Yeah. I found this photo of you on the interweb, as the kids say.
My God.
Have you seen?
Oh, yes. Oh, those are good old days.
Can you explain that to me?
Things happen. That's all I can say about these things. Things happen. I was very young, as you can see, and I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
But it was a tentative thing. Nothing happened. I didn't go to prison or anything like that. It was just arrested. But the guys...
You were acting or something?
No. No, that wasn't acting. That was arrest.
Yeah, but weren't you playing around with a fake gun or something?
No. I was in a car with some people,
yeah.
and something had happened that was not too good, and we got hauled in with others, and that was my debut.
You know what?
Never again. I didn't get no charges, nothing.
You're lucky you didn't go to prison when you looked that pretty. That's all I can say.
There it is.
Hey?
There it is.
You go tread the boards. You're a theater guy. How many soliloquies are in that head of yours?
Oh, God, yes.
Are they there? You just access them?
The Shakespeare stuff is there because I used to read a lot of Shakespeare, and I did King Lear recently. But it's the memories are there because of the meaning of the words, but the memory also of my youth.
So, out of relative obscurity, you get a call from Francis, and he says, I want you to play Michael Corleone.
That's a huge jump. I'm an actor in New York.
I know.
I'm a teenager in the Village, Greenwich Village. The Village in the early '60s was sort of like Paris in the 1900s. In the time of Picasso, Renoir, all of them, and also we had Allen Ginsberg and Jackson Pollock and all that stuff going on, and these cafes filled the Village, and they used to do shows. I used to do shows, 16 performances a week of different plays and different things. And so that was my life. And we'd pass the hat around afterward. You'd pass the basket. They'd throw whatever they could in it. And that's how we ate. So it was a kind of bohemian life that I went through for a long period. And then the theater became a part of my life. And I worked in off Broadway. And I got various jobs. mainly in the cafes. And I joined a group of people. I had friends. And then Charlie Lawton came in my life. As you know, I talk about him all the time. He was older than me, about 10, 11 years older. And he was a mentor. I think he saved my life.
Wow.
Very much so. I think he saved it because he educated me. He said, read this and read that. And I just was drawn to reading anyway. And I started to think of myself as someone who's learning things. I have to mention Blanche Rothstein, because she was my second grade teacher. And she came home to my little tenement up 5 stories and sat at the kitchen table with my grandmother and said, this boy has to be an actor. And she said other things. I don't know, but I wasn't allowed to be in that meeting. But I never forgot it, and she got me to read the Bible for assembly when all the kids get together and they say this, and I would read the Bible loud, and I would say all these words. I didn't know what they meant, the words, but I loved the words. So that was a bit of my training. I didn't even know what I was doing.
Your grandmother said, he's a lucky boy.
Yeah.
Your grandfather said, the kid's got personality.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's you.
That's right.
And with a bit of hardship in the way.
Well, here's the thing. I was climbing up. I was getting to do off-Broadway plays, and I was on Broadway in plays. I actually even won a Tony. It was like young. And by that time, I had done a play called The Indian Wants the Bronx off-Broadway, and I got representation.
Yeah.
Because it was a big hit. Faye Dunaway told somebody about me. I didn't know Faye Dunaway, but she was that's the thing about actors should know. Broadway, people see you, and if you're doing something that's working, they give you a plug. Anyway, Marty Bregman came down and saw me and wanted to work with me. Now he had Streisand, he had Faye Dunaway, he had Judy Garland at one time. So I had some representation. I was getting a little in New York City, getting there, and I got a note from Francis Ford Coppola about a movie he wrote. It was called A Love Story, something like that. It was great. The script was great. It's about a college professor who falls in love with a student. He has a wife and 2 kids. It's also very mythical and strange about some passing we go through in life, and it was beautifully done. So I went to San Francisco to meet with whoever was going to produce the movie and Francis. And we got to know each other. We spent a few days, nights, all talking, having dinner, walking through San Francisco. He had a place called Zoetrope, where all those directors were George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Brian De Palma. They were all in this group. In the late 60s, these are the people that were going to enter into the 70s of filmmaking, Anyway, I went back. I said bye to them. It was fun to be with them. And I just had my life in New York City, my stuff, actor studio and stuff like that. Next thing I know, I get a phone call, and it's Francis a year later. And I pick up the phone. I said, hi. He says, hi, it's Francis. I said, oh, Francis, wow. I mean, it's been a year. You know how those things are. And he says, I just want to say, I want to tell you, I got The Godfather. I said, I thought, there's something wrong with him. I mean, I just felt there's something wrong with this guy. I don't know if he's, it's been a year. Life is tough, and we know doing what we do is tough. So I thought, yeah, wow. I said, what else could I say? It's only the biggest film that's going to happen. We all read it. I even read the book, of course. And he said, no, I do have it. I'm doing it. Yeah. I said, well, congratulations. But I did have one thought, because I got to know him when I was in Frisco. He's very smart and very gifted. You knew that when you talked to him and saw him, and very into it. You know, he's going someplace. And then when he said he wants me to play Michael, I thought, oh, he's over the top now. This ain't gonna happen. You know, you have to understand a New York actor just, and there's Hollywood, 3,000 miles away, and that doesn't happen like that. I wasn't as interested as I guess I either should have been, or I just had my world. I had the actor studio, I had more plays, my dreams were going off into repertory and coming back, you know. And he said, no, I want you to do it. So I called my grandmother up, the only one that was alive in my family left. Everybody was gone. So I called my grandmother and I said, you know, I was excited. I said, I think I'm in a movie. Oh, she said, that's good. I said, yeah. I said, and it's because I remember the last time I called my grandmother up, I was in a children's theater play, and it was an ad in the paper which said, you know, that I'm in the play. I said, Granny, I called her. I said, Granny, I'm in the newspaper. And she said, what did you do? I said, no, I'm in a play. I'm in the newspaper in a play. She says, yeah? She doesn't know. So anyway, that was the last conversation I had with her about that stuff.
Now you're in a movie.
Now I called her, I said, I'm in a movie. And she says, oh, she knew about the book and everything else. I hang up the phone with her. About a half hour later, I was living with my friend Jill Clayburgh. We had an apartment on 90th Street. I remember it completely. I get a phone call from my grandmother, calls back. And she says, Sonny. I said, yeah. She says, Granddaddy was from Corleone.
Get out. Wow.
I thought, uh-oh.
The synergy.
Yeah,
You do.
going on.
The thing is, though, you had to fight every step of the way. The studio, they wanted, Robert Redford, someone else to be Michael Corleone.
Of course.
And then even when it started filming, they were trying to get rid of you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was filming for a couple of weeks. And, of course, they were telling Francis, this is your fault. We're going to fire you for hiring him. And I thought, well, what am I doing? You know, he says, and then he had to talk to me. He said, we got together and he said to me, Al, and he was in a bar restaurant with his family sitting there around a table eating. And I knew something was up because he didn't invite me to sit down. And I'm standing there in front of them. So he's saying this stuff, and he's saying this stuff to me, and it's about, I had faith in you. I really liked you and I believed in you. I know he did, because without him, there's no me there, right? So I just thought, well, I don't know what to do. He says, well, I got some rushes up for you on 59th and Broadway, where they have the Paramount building. Go tomorrow, take a look at what you're doing. I said, okay, Francis, sure. He was upset because he knew everything he believed in, you know. So I don't know what he's talking about. So I go in and I see my rushes. That isn't fun. It's not fun to watch yourself on screen.
You don't like it?
Well, earlier in my life, I couldn't do it. Every time I saw myself, I thought, oh my, where do you come from? But at the same time, when I watch the rushes, that's what they call them, footage of them, I'm saying, I don't know what he sees that's so bad. So I get back to Francis. I said, oh, I see what you mean. You have to lie, you know. I see what you mean. And I know he knows that. But there was a distance at that point. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? So because I started sensing around the set,
God.
you know, people didn't think I was long to last. And Marlon Brando was so good to me because I remember him massaging my back like that. And I thought, you know, he knows something. And I know something. This is awful. I don't want to be here. I don't know if you've been around a place, nobody wants you, kind of. Not often. It doesn't happen often.
I'm very happy where I am.
Oh, good for that. Because once they start not wanting you there.
That's happened before.
So you know
it's happened before. I know the feeling.
We've all had it out there. We've had it. So, but at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I don't know what to do. So I'm like, you know, I'm started going into zombie mode. But I still had a scene to do. I think Francis put on the schedule a scene I was supposed to do down the line, but he thought I won't be around if he stays any longer, so he gave me that restaurant scene.
Oh.
So Sterling, Hayden, and little Al Lettieri were there with me, and they were such great guys. The two guys, Solozzo and the police captain, and that was Sterling Hayden and little Al. And they really, it's as though everybody around knew that this kid's gonna go, meaning me. But I did the scene with them. And I did it the way I thought, where I was at the time. And I ran out afterward. I dropped the gun, and I go out and I jump in the car that's moving. Well, I missed the step to go in the car, and I fall down, and I'm lying in the gutter like this, and I looked up, and I thanked God. I actually thanked God, because I couldn't move my ankle. I said, I'm gone. Thank you, God.
It was your way out.
I'm out of the picture. How am I going to do with this ankle? I said, that was a sign to me that this is a no-go. But they fixed it. They shot some formaldehyde in my ankle, and somehow I got up, and somehow I was in this film, and they kept me because they saw the rushes of that.
Everything changed out of that film.
Everything, yeah.
You say something really interesting, that your sweet pea anonymity was lost.
Yes,
There's nothing you can do about it. You want some of that, but you have to trade. Was the trade at that time, was it worth it?
I'm thinking, where am I? My life is like that. The film is done. We go to the film premiere. Now, he had showed me, Francis showed me the film already, and I thought it was very good, but, I didn't know what, I went in, and the lights went out, and that music starts, right? I left.
Couldn't watch it.
Went down the street and got myself ossified. I was sitting there with the producers, I'm all over the place. And then everything happened after that. And then these things, I'm standing on a street corner, and there's a redheaded woman standing next to me, and she looks at me, and I look at her, and she says, "Hi, Michael." That's when it happened. I thought, I'm gone. My anonymity is gone. And then elderly woman came up to me, took my hand, and kissed it, and said, "Godfather."
Oh, wow. Changed
Where do you
forever.
go from there? What happened to me?
You didn't grieve it, though. I mean, you're on a roll then. You're doing these...
I didn't even know I was on a roll. And it was over. Life as I knew it was over.
Tony Montana.
Oh, there.
I
don't know what to say about that. I loved it so much when I saw Scarface in the movies with Paul Muni and Ben Hecht made this film that was gorgeous, and I knew, because I had heard of it, and I was doing stuff that Bertolt Brecht did. And Bertolt Brecht was a follower of gangster films in the 40s, and the 30s, and this was, so I saw it, I felt really good about it, and I just thought I could do this. I got to do this again. So I called Marty Breckman, and he got it done.
One of the most quoted lines in movie history.
Say hello to my little friend.
Say hello to my little friend.
Oh my God. What a line. But you say,
Oliver Stone wrote the script.
Yeah, it's brilliant. You say you never touched cocaine. You look like it was your friend in that movie.
I mean, I would like to now in my life. I said, because it's just done a lot of good for me, but that's the upside. I never tried it because my life was always alcohol, wine, alcohol, beer. It was drugs that brought you down, whatever they were, Valium and stuff like that. With booze is not healthy.
Yeah.
But I used to do it all. But it was always to depress me because I was like always going. And Charlie used to say, I got to get a 500-pound gorilla to walk with us and chain you to him. Because I would be walking and jumping. I had a lot of energy.
You have a lot of energy.
I still do, yeah.
In your films, you have volcanic energy. And you can be spectacularly, beautifully loud. And then, like in Scent of a Woman, in any nanosecond, there is such a raft of micro emotions that come across your face and in your eyes. Are you conscious of that?
Well, yes and no. You know, I organize myself to a role, and I work long hours on it, days and weeks. The longer the rehearsal, the better off I am. So I've always had that sort of approach to things. You absorb it. And it's changed over the years, you know, because you become more experienced and you're able to do things differently. You learn. You're always learning. I mean, so that's what my whole thing is.
Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman.
You got the Oscar, finally. There is a shot of you when you get that Oscar, and there's a massive sigh. How did that make you feel, getting that award after so many tries?
I don't think anyone can describe what it really feels like in that, first of all, to be in that environment. I've never felt comfortable.
The Oscars are weird.
Yeah, they're so, I mean, I have to say it.
You got to.
Weird things are happening. And me especially, I get, you know, I don't know where to go, you know. And I said, you know what would help me? The one thing that helped me, I have 4 children now, but I had 3 children at the time, and I went to the Oscars with all of them. Mm. And my youngest daughter liked it. She just sat right next to me. So she was so enamored with it and so into it and so real about it. The other 2 were floating around the room, having their little repartee together because they like to have fun. But I was there with her, and I had a different view of it. She got up, she knew a couple of people there, go over to them, you know, say hello. It had a more relaxed feeling for me. And of course I lost immediately, so now I had to go through the show for 3 hours, having lost it. So I had no tension whatsoever. And but it was an interesting experience how it changed when I had my kids there with me.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that immortal line from that movie, you've already said it. That's when I came into the country at customs. I said I was interviewing you because they asked what you're doing, and the guy goes, "Who are you interviewing, man?" I said, "Al Pacino." He goes, "Hoo-ha! Hoo-ha!"
I was doing this gun, trying to translate it, and this colonel was teaching me how to disassemble a 45 blind. So I did that work. Every time I would do it correctly, he'd go, "Hoo-ha!" I'd say, and pretty soon I said, "Well, what is that thing you do?" He said, "Oh, we do it in the thing because we line up and shoom gets there." Wow. You know, I said, "I'm using that, baby," to myself.
Well, now I'm on TV getting hoo-ha lessons from Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Doesn't get any better than this, my man. Hey, so I'm going to skip forward. We've only got a couple of minutes left. I want to talk about, if we can, Heat.
Okay.
So De Niro's been a great friend of yours and colleague for a long time. Yeah. That scene with you two in that film is as good as it gets. Was there any unspoken kind of rivalry? How did you feel before that scene between you two?
Well, I think we're in our 50s, our mid-50s by then. So I know Bob growing up. It's in the business. I knew him. I met him before either one of us made a film. But at the same time, he said he thought it was a good idea that we don't rehearse and we just meet and do it. And I think it was the first thing we ever did together.
Yeah.
So I came and he was right. It was the thing to do. It helped.
You're in The Godfather 2 together, but not in the same scenes.
Not in the same scenes.
But you don't get keyed up for that scene with him. Was it not a...
Well, you know, you have a way, you have to you try to you get it out of your head. You try to just think about where you are, what you're doing, where you're going, just to find yourself in a relaxed state. And then it's fine, you know. They'll do it over again if you don't do it right. That's the thing about film.
Yeah.
You know, can I have another take?
Yeah.
But when you're in the theater, there's no other take. You go on, you taxi, the point of no return, and you're up there, and that's the whole difference between theater and movies.
No safety net.
No safety net.
I do a De Niro.
You do it, De Niro? Let's hear it.
It's not so much hearing it, it's seeing it. It's a visual feast. You ready for it?
Yes.
You just got to get...
Wow.
Hang on, please, please.
Oh, it's so wonderful to see this transformation. What am I going to do? Hey, Bob.
I won't hesitate. I will not hesitate.
I think you got it. You got it. He's got it. The rain in Spain, the Spain. What's that? Fair Lady.
Man, you're a nutbag. I love it. You're crazy. You know what I read? You know what I read in the book? Johnny Depp says to you, Al, you're crazy. This is Johnny Depp.
Oh, I know.
He tried to bring two little dogs into Australia.
Oh, that was... oh, God. I just worked with it, his next film about the painter Modigliani. I'm in it. And he's directed it. So, and I worked with him before, and he is crazy. And he says, I was recently with him in Paris, of all places. We're there. And of course, we got together, and he was imbibing, and we were talking. And he says, yes. And he's talking, and he says, Al, we're toddlers, Al. We're toddlers. It's perfect. When we get together, we're the two kind of people that, where if we were in the same school, elementary school, the two of us, they'd separate us.
Yeah.
They'd make sure that we're not in the same class.
You love his company.
I do love him, yeah.
Well, finally, your family. In the book, you've obviously adore your kids, love your kids, as every dad does. In Little Roman now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in your 80s. I guess you're never too old to tango. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, yeah. But I'm thinking, I wanna go on. I'm trying to find a way.
More kids?
I want to go on a few years. No. no more. Things happen in life, they happen. And that happened.
What a joy to have,
It's
to
a
have
joy,
kids.
it
I've
really
got
is.
4 as well. So,
You do too, yeah. I don't.
you know.
Who can do without them? I mean, it's the best.
Al Pacino, when you Google Al Pacino, ... what should it say?
Oh, that's a new one. Say,
It's cerebral, what I come up with.
I don't know. Right now, I'm working on being humble. It's right. I don't know what to say about that. About Al Pacino, what does it say? I guess it says, let me see, I want to think of something that it would say, help him. Help him out. It's this life, Look, I love acting. I love it. I don't even know, that's the wrong word. I need it. I don't think I could live without having roles to play. And I think I don't do life good. I'm not good at life. And I'm a little bit better at doing a role.
Just finally, it's an absolute joy to talk with you. There are so many fans around the world who really dig what you do and what you've given. Is there anything you'd like to say to them?
Well, without them, I wouldn't exist. And that's the truth. I get these pockets of joy, and I get it from the people that watch, from exchanging, from being with you now. It helps me to stay here on this earth. I have a tendency to fly, if you know what I mean.
What a great joy.
This is great.
You're great.
Thank you, babe.
It's a real honor.